I got shot in my whole head. So it's just like faith literally is just believing that God loves you so much that he has control over your life, even when it seems like you don't, because you really don't.
All right, we rolling here too. This is the Free Medicine Club podcast. I have a very special guest, interesting individual, an artist, community activist, a leader, and really a man with a story that I think is important to hear coming from where we come from. So I introduce to you guys none other than Rain, as he is known. Just tell us where you grew up, how you grew up, and then we just gonna chop it up from there.
All right, well, my name is Rain. I'm originally from 83rd and Kedzie. I grew up on 84th of California, you feel me? I would say what was very interesting about my area was, I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with it. This generation might not be, but in my generation, we understood what white flight meant. So white flight was basically affluent black individuals who got their stuff together, became successful. They end up buying cribs, houses, property and stuff. Because of that, white people in droves would move out, you know what I mean? So that would become a newly black area. I was in one of those neighborhoods of white flight. A lot of the people that I grew up with, that peoples came from the project. So, a lot of us had a lot of that already in it. So, we grew up and we did what we did. And I feel like my career started early because I was just influenced. I wanted to be, everything that I was seeing. And,
I think that's one of the things we didn't talk about was
Yeah.
like what influenced you to like start doing music. And it's so funny. I feel like that we
Man,
would have already covered that.
that's
But like what
crazy that you say
influenced you to
that.
like really
So,
lean into that? Like, or what made you?
I don't really talk a lot about that because it's a story that's mixed with a lot of pain in it too. You know what I mean? Because my brother, he ended up getting killed by gun violence. You feel me? So his name was Zoe. He really put me on the rapping, man. I always read. I'm always been a reading type of guy, a person that's always looking to gain more and more knowledge. So bro hit me one day. They sitting there rapping. They like, man, you always reading, Rain. Go ahead and write something out. I'm like, man, I can't rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I ain't finna be no rapper, bro. I'm trying to do what I'm doing. I'm trying to stay out the spotlight. You feel me?
For sure.
My boy, like, man, you smart, man. You be reading dictionaries, all that, man.
Was you reading a dictionary?
I was reading dictionaries, and really, I was only reading dictionaries because I wanted to be able to speak intelligently. I felt like that was really the way to make the true money that I wanted to see, especially when you like selling drugs and stuff. It's like, no offense, but your clucks is your bread and butter. So it's like, if I'm with clucks that's just, in the neighborhood, they struggling to get by, I'm gonna be struggling to get by. So if I change my wording, I could change the people I was around, the places where I could move my product. So that's why I just was reading. You feel me? And just because I like to read.
For sure.
But yeah, he like, man, go ahead, write. And I just started writing from then, and I I I saw I had a passion. What's also interesting is that I grew up in the church, so I was in the choir. I always knew how to harmonize. I like singing, but singing wasn't for me because I can't sing. You know what I mean? And
You
I
weren't
ain't
just
Chris
for the,
Brown.
right? You right.
I ain't gonna be dancing,
Right.
all that. So like, that's not for me. You feel me? So when bro put it on me, like, man, pause. But when he told me like, when he told me like, man, you can rap, and I finally wrote them words, I was like, man, I can rap.
Yeah.
And so one of the biggest things about me too, growing up, I was a person. I don't know why I had the stupid idea, but I literally was like, if you don't put your hands on me, I'm cool. Meaning that you can say anything. You call me out my name, all that, as long as you ain't touch me. People didn't know I knew how to fight until you had to actually touch me. Yeah.
I think that's most normal people have.
Yeah, that's
that
normal.
disposition.
The
Like
hood don't play that though. When you on the block, ain't none of that, man. You gotta watch your mouth. People dying over words these days, which is sad because that's not how men should interact with each other. We are supposed to be less emotional and more logical.
Right.
And when you moving off words and stuff, you're more emotional. You feel me? But yeah, man. So when I, always growing up and knowing to keep silent, with my emotions and certain feelings that I had, especially in the hood, all that. So it's just like, using music was like, I could actually say how I feel and people will listen to it if the beat raw enough. You see what I'm saying? So it was just like finding like a new power. Like the first time I shot a gun, like, oh man, the power that I have, you know. And if y'all don't know, go ahead and listen to Nas, I Gave You Power. So you know what I'm talking about. But you know, it's the same thing with the music. And ever since then, I just never stopped. The only thing I did do is fall back a little bit because I saw the industry and what it was doing to just us. You know, I'm 29 for people who don't know. So I grew up in the Chief Keef era. You see what I'm saying? I watched Chief Keef make bang. Now I wasn't in his neighborhood, you see what I'm saying? But the point I'm trying to make is as a youth, I was very understanding and in the mix enough to know what the was going on. You see what I'm saying? I know who he talking about, I know who he dissing. I know some of his peoples. You feel what I'm saying? His peoples know my peoples type. So, you know, luckily God blessed me enough where I was at and the people I was with wasn't close enough to what they was doing. And I'm pretty sure that saved my life.
Right. So it kind of kept you to some degree unscathed, but
you
it
know,
didn't necessarily keep you out the way all the way.
We ain't none of us unscathed. You see what I'm saying? As y'all gonna hear in my story later on, we ain't none of us unscathed. You know, I don't know where that rhetoric came from. If you playing in the streets, man, the game is to be sold, not told, meaning that you got to pay your price. And we pay that in blood, sweat, and tears. The game hurt. So ain't no street brother or a street oriented person out here that ain't never been checked, pressed, none of that. They don't, you not no gangster, you faking, you lying. You know what I mean? How you something that ain't been tried. Like if you ain't been tried and true, how are you what you claim you is? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, but that's another conversation for another, you know. But
most of your music now is affected though.
Yeah.
By you know those experiences and now like kind of you know how you rebrand and you having a rebrand moment.
Yeah.
Like can you speak a little bit about that? Like the direction it's taken on and what you feel like has kind of spurred that like that rebrand.
Oh, the rebrand, right? Yeah. So with me, where should I start, man? So like I said, I've always rapped, but I was in the streets. So it's like, you know, my first couple raps, it was more about my pain and this ops. And then it was like, do I want to die like that? And it's just it's just being honest. Cause it's just like, man, you put a target on your back.
Yeah.
I ain't had no money. I don't know where all these rich hood came from. Like, bro, this is Chicago. We're broke. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Like, and I'm not saying like that, like brothers ain't getting money out here. We gonna figure it out. We hustlers. But it's like growing up, I was homeless, man. So I felt like I'd be lying to the people who actually want to hear me. Like if I'm out here talking about getting money and it's like I'm struggling. Like,
it's a real struggle.
So I'm saying my people's just kicked me out. They've been beating my ass since I was a kid. You feel what I'm saying? So my head is messed up. I'm just an angry kid in the world. So like rapper wasn't that big of a deal for me. And then when I'm seeing brothers drop all this music getting killed, I'm like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and I'm gonna fall back on that. It's gonna put a target on you. So when I got older and I met my brother Dondre, you feel me? He, you know, that's the one who do the clothing, Almighty. You know, shout them out, man.
Shout out.
Great work for the Lord, great work in community. But he really was the person that really like gave me the fire upon me. Like, bro, God is gonna use it. Like God created you for this purpose, and I feel like that's really like your whole thing and my whole thing. And I feel like anybody that's working for the kingdom, that's to be our thing, like letting these brothers know that you were created for a purpose. So this talent, Satan is using it against you because he knows what it could do against him. So with me, it was like, when I heard that, I'm like, man, how am I going to, and then, you know, like I got my relationship with God. I got blessed, you know, I got shot in my head, all that. So it's like, dang, okay, God is really with me. So it's like, how do I put this on my music and allow people to see myself? And the whole thing was just like, you got to change yourself. Like, I think one of the biggest things is like with these rappers, you know, I'm not naming no specific rappers, but we know a lot of y'all fake. The music just sound good. You know, y'all just make it sound good and look good. But like in all reality, the smackers know that you ain't for real, bro. Like the people that's actually doing what you claiming you doing know that you ain't doing that for real.
Mm-hmm.
Because you couldn't be rapping about it.
Right, you
Like, you
couldn't.
see what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
You would have to be out the way. If you is there, we know what's coming. We know you got a couple years.
Yeah, we
You know
know
what
it's
I
an
mean?
expiration date
You see
on
what
it.
I'm saying? So regardless, it was like, man, I'm gonna have to change. And that's when I started doing the street outreach work. And I realized like I really didn't care about the music. I cared about the power of my voice and the words that I was using. And knowing that God created me to use my voice for his glory.
For
So it was
sure.
just like, how do I get Shorty and them to understand what I did was wrong? What we influenced is being from Chicago and being 29, being that era, what we influenced, how do I get them to understand that we was wrong?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that was the biggest thing. I couldn't rebrand myself if I didn't understand myself, but I couldn't understand myself until I understood the people that was before me.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why, I know I'm revolving around a lot of points here, but I think that's why, a lot of these politicians and stuff, I'm not naming no specific president, but they're trying to put critical race theory
Right,
out
right,
there,
right. Yeah.
snatch that history from us so Shorty and them don't know where they come from. You see what I'm saying? That's why a lot of us still have that fire because we know where we came from.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's important too. And then, as much as you would feel comfortable getting into, because you speak on the community activism part, it ain't just, it's not some cliche, we know all the gangsters, once they ready to do their thing, and, give back but for you, it's a little bit deeper. It's a little bit more passionate
Yeah.
because you connected with, groups that have historically, been established in order for, advancement of color people, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, and black people in our community,
Yeah.
so to tap in with such groups, like how you, I guess, reconciling all that together with your walk and, just segueing into that part, like how does all that play into right now? Because you had your hands in, in
A
a
lot.
couple, in a lot, right? And you commit yourself to a lot because it's like you're truly passionate about it. Like on whatever level I'm gonna be involved with it, I'm finna go all the way.
Exactly.
Unless I see that it's something that's gonna cut my destiny short, because obviously you have a sense of destiny and purpose.
Yeah, I agree. Well, one of the things that I learned is that, wealth is in your friends,
Mm-hmm.
is your connections, and to be kings to be a servant.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that I do is about giving back to the people because I was a person that needed the help.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times I didn't have help, but God would send people to help me, you know what I mean? And to bless me or teach me. They say, give a man a fish, eat for a day, teach a man a fish, eat for life. So it's just like, I have my hand in so many things that's trying to advance our people because of the simple fact that I have to. Like, you have to too. Like, if you care about where your children is going to lay their head, the environment that they're going to be in, the school environment that they're going to be in, the work environment that they're going to be in, you need to be helping your people.
Yeah.
You need to be creating jobs and making sure that your job is getting you money to help your people. Now, I know that is easier said than done, but that's why I'm doing it because I don't have any kids right now. I'm not married. I'm single. I don't have nobody I'm tied to. So it's just like, regardless, this is the mission I feel like God put me on this earth for. Another thing, looking at the forefathers of our past, you see what I'm saying? Marcus Garvey, Stokely Carmichael, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, you know what I mean? So many beautiful black brothers that pushed the movement. You feel what I'm saying? I look to see what they did.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I realized is that they had their mind set straight on what they wanted to do at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
I messed up because I got walky. I'm like, I want to do it. I should do it, but I'm not going to do it. Now it's like, I'm going to do it. And if I'm going to die doing it, I'm going to do it. But we need love. We need help. And especially being a black man, you feel what I'm saying? Knowing how society has pushed us down, not be able to be emotional, be open. I just stand strong. Like, that's why I'm a revolutionary Black Panther. You feel what I'm saying? Because it's just like, we have to remember what we do this for. Even with gangs, man, I gang bang. You know what I mean? I sold drugs, I shot guns, I did all what I had to do. But the point I'm trying to make is we put our all in for that, but why won't we do that for our own people?
Mm-hmm.
For the actual, community groups that was created to better help us. Because that's what gangs was for.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? But that's also why I do street outreach work, because we can't look down on these brothers. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We left the mistakes. You know, these shorties, like, they looking up at us because we left this for them. Just like we was looking at old school and them because they left this BS for us.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like, are we as a community gonna keep leaving for our men and then blaming on them?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we'd be bogus. I can't blame Shorty and them because I know what I did and who I influenced. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I know what I put out into the world.
Right.
Them kids was watching while we was wild.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So they watching now too. So that's why it's like I have to do what I have to do.
While you still at the prime where you can have that kind of impact where they'll listen to you.
Exactly, because nobody care when you old trying to talk to them, talking about who you used to be. We don't care.
That's a fact. Like they
We
don't they really don't care real fast.
They don't care what you did 10 years ago. They care about what you're doing now. And nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
So,
and then I mean, I think the point to be made is plain and simple that there's a certain image that they gonna draw to automatically.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I know God got his ones that he positioned that way and that he, you know, have a special grace for. Like he got his snipers in his sleeper cells. So
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like I think it's important to note that the image is a draw. You know what I'm saying? And I think that if people can, they don't gotta be okay with that.
Yeah.
Like nobody has to be okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you understand your assignment, which is what I hear you saying about
Yeah.
the Marcus Garveys and these leaders that we have come to know, like they understood the mission, the assignment, what at least they were here to do,
Yeah.
right? And they, you know, did it to the death.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think it goes to say being willing to stand on something so solidly to where you like, all right, whatever this might mean. Whatever this might mean for me, I know that's the way to go about it. And like your level of faith that it's taken to even have you go from one point to the next, like your stories has been very nomadic.
Yeah. Yeah. I grew up hard. My parents, they you know, they was some good people. You know, they tried, but you know, like I said, you have to understand the society they grew up in too. You know, I mean, my parents were government workers, so maybe they was just mad. And I wasn't that good of a kid. I was very questionable. You see how I'm saying? Very intrusive. You know what I mean? And my parents wasn't going for that. I grew up in, you better watch your mouth. Matter of fact, don't say nothing at all. And I was always saying something. So, you know, I got roughed up a lot. Basically, I gained the faith because I was homeless. I ran away from my crib and I sat outside for hours and days and weeks with nobody. Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, every single holiday with nobody. So it's just like people ask for things that they don't really want. I remember being a kid and praying and like, oh man, I want to be like the people in the Bible. I don't think people really want to, like, I don't think they get that.
Yeah, no.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly what it was. I think was it Elijah when Jezebel was trying to kill him? He wanted to die.
Yeah.
And it's just like, God, like, no, just a meal. Take a nap.
Right,
Like this is not a game. But no, like all them homeless nights, I had faith, and I just give it to y'all straight how I do it. You know, I'll be outside. I have nobody. I'm a kid. I'm begging for change on the street. I'm like 15, 16, you know, and I'm like, I pray in my head, God, man, if you hear me, you love me, let me just find somebody to give me some money tonight. And I'm going to ask you where to go, left, right. And I'll pray. And I'll just go off whatever I heard in my head, and it worked. And it's just like, I realized the only reason I have the faith is because I was crazy enough to believe it. Like, and I think really that's why a lot of people aren't where they're at. You know what I mean? Like, you just not crazy enough to believe it. Herb, you said something similar to that. Like, you know, maybe you just, you know, it just ain't your time yet. Or you just ain't believing in yourself for real. You know? And that's really how I got the faith. And I trusted, not trusted, but I had trust in what I heard more than what I seen. You see what I'm saying? And more so like, look, I'm out here alone. I'm a child. Has no protection but the man upstairs. And because the Bible says that he is close to kids like me, be here. And he was there. And that's how I got the faith, because I kept hearing him. And I'm like, oh man, God is real.
That's so good. Man. Put the biggest smile on my face, man, because man, through all of this, and I know something we just talked about off camera, like like through all of the experience that you might have, like that one little seed be like, man, but they told me about God. Like, I
Man,
don't care what happened after that. At this point, it's wheat and tares. It's like, all right,
man,
there's a lot of it gonna grow up together, but man, they gave me that one little piece,
that
and
one little piece. That's
man,
all it takes. And it's so crazy because it's just like people wouldn't believe me. I was selling drugs and God was with me. And like you would think that sound crazy, but like a day with God is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years a day to God. So what that means is that He knows. He knows. And what is supposed to be bad for us, He will use for good and for His glory. And it's just so crazy because it's like God was with me because He knew one day I would stop. He loved me enough to sit there and watch me do the wrong that I was doing because I ain't know no better and still protect me. I got shot in my whole head. So it's just like faith literally is just believing that God loves you so much that He has control over your life, even when it seems like you don't, because you really don't. Like,
yeah,
you really
yeah,
don't have control over your life. If you think you are because you paying bills and you got a good car and all that, you're not. Because if one string gets pulled, if you lose that job, it's over with.
Yeah, man, look.
We don't have control. We just make it look good, man. You see what I'm saying? So it's like I think that's the easiest for me, man. That's why I don't be as stressed as much as I used to be because I know I've given God control over my life.
Mm,
So whichever way He wants me to go, I'm going to try my best to follow. I'm that perfect.
that's good though. That's really
You
good,
know.
man. If y'all don't take nothing else from this conversation, like that's the biggest thing I would say, like huge takeaway. Because a lot of people, and it's funny, I got a lot of close friends with a lot of similar stories to that. Like sleeping on the bench. You know what I'm saying? Got a $100 bill, just get, you know,
You think it's a
right.
movie, but it's real
Yeah, it's
life.
real life. Like, does art imitate life or is life imitating art? Right. So it's like, you
Or
know,
imitating life.
they having real conversations with God, like on, God, I'm hungry tonight. Where I'm gonna get some food? Like, and then, $100 bills or,
Think of it
then
like
he
this
pick
too.
my friend. He just so honest. He gonna make sure he follow every person down to make sure it wasn't
No, for
theirs.
real. Now look at it like this. So, I'm an artist, right? And you're an artist. But like, if God created us in His image, then who is the first artist?
Mm,
So God is still an artist. He is still making art in the image of man.
yeah.
He is still painting beautiful pictures. We look outside and we see birds and flowers every day. That's art. We imitate it. We literally paint pictures of what we see in real life and then sell them for millions of dollars as art.
Like I can't go just look
Like,
at that with my own eyes and be
for
like,
free.
oh, for free,
For
right?
free.
That's crazy too. That's crazy, and that's one of the first things like if you read the Bible, that's what you find out about God. Little do you know is that He's a creator. It says in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, right?
And He takes care of His creations. The Bible
Yeah.
says, man, if He look out for the flowers, man, make sure they good, man. I ain't gonna make sure we good.
Then that's just too much goodness to not to overlook
Exactly.
for any one person. I think it's highly arrogant to overlook the stories and experiences of people who like this is I'm telling you what I did. ABC took one step this way and he said
Yeah.
go right, and I just literally was that open to hear him, and then this is what I got from that.
Yeah.
Like to be able to hear the voice of God is like priceless, man. Is
Definitely.
invaluable at this point.
Definitely. Definitely.
You've done some open mics and taking it really seriously at this point, using it as a draw for the young people, but really having an incubator space. So how can people like support and help?
And I'll talk
This
more.
man can really rap. Like this man, like this ain't, what I'm saying? I hold my opinion about music in general. If it's not good, it's just not good. And I think that because coming from a church background, we just learn to clap at everything. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
but no, if you can rap, like to me that's important. You should be, if you have a message, you need to be putting that out at the forefront because it's so noisy right now, and it's so much just not good stuff that needs some help.
I'm gonna be honest, man. Cause I'm from the GOAT, man. The brother's snapping, but it's just like, hey, it's Satan fuel, man. And we
Yeah.
just gotta be honest with it, man. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I freestyle too, man. And I talk my stuff, man. Like I said, I did what I did, but regardless, we have to understand that when we get to a certain platform, we have to watch what we say. One of the main reasons why I fell back on pushing the music because I knew I wasn't ready. I don't want no shorty going to kill nobody off my song. You gonna answer for that. And regardless if you don't mess with me or what I'm saying or not, you still have to answer for it. Like there's truth and then there's absolute truth. So is your truth and how you believe and how you perceive the world, and then there's the absolute truth of the land and of the universe that God has already put forth. And that absolute truth is that you will answer for the words and the blood that was shed because of your words. You will answer for people who has followed your words. So, y'all wrong. Y'all got good beats, but y'all don't got good fruit. You know what I mean? The beats raw though. And I'm not gonna lie. A lot of y'all be snapping. I listen to a lot of y'all. But then it's like, when I get to my music, I can't move off your flow. You can't even say I snatched your flow because I can't even talk like you because of the God I serve. And I know he knows that I know. So that would be foolish. The only thing that's okay for y'all is y'all obviously don't know. And if you do know if God had that conversation with you, well,
that's on you, man. This been dope. This been good. If you want to leave us with any parting words,
appreciate you, man. Man, I mean, y'all see my music, share it, man. You see me post something about a peace circle or me trying to get something together, come. All you can do is come. I mean, I know we all, be in the streets, man. We got our ops or whatever the case may be. I don't got none. My only op is Satan. But regardless, all I'm saying is, man, pop up. We'll make sure you're protected, man. You ain't the only brother out here that knows some people. But all jokes aside, man, just come out, man. And my field of work, we really just want people to come so we can understand what y'all need. You know what I mean? When we're looking for funding and we trying to get government, assistance, not link. I mean government assistance as in actual funding.
grant funding,
Grant funders, you know what I mean? We're looking to help our
and
people.
things like that, yeah.
So it is, for me, it's a lot easier if we can hear y'all stories. I really just want to be a bridge. If you want to support me, Rain the Great One on Instagram, RAINDAGREAT, the number one.
You can find music on YouTube.
Yeah, music on YouTube or on Apple Music, Rain the Great One, same way. Or the Great Rain, whatever, look me up, you'll find me. But I got more music coming soon, man. And, also support these organizations in Chicago that's trying to work to better the kingdom, man, and just better Chicago. Shout out Together Chicago.
For sure.
I've done a lot of work with them, and I thank God that they allowed me to use the talents that God gave me. And glory be to God for the work they continue to do in these streets, man. And shout out UCAN and
for sure.
Exchange Chicago. Shout out Almighty, man. Please support my brother. He doing a lot of work with the youth, man. And speaking on that too, if you have a youth that has talent, man, please contact us. We can help, especially if they know any sewing or they could be behind the camera, man. I mean, it's really all about helping the person next to you and inspiring them to do more. There's people in your neighborhoods with beautiful talents and abilities, but they scared to talk about them. But you the one with the voice. You might not have no talent, or you might feel like you don't have no talent, but your voice is your talent. You speaking up for people is your talent. So
for sure,
support. Advocacy is the biggest thing. You see what I'm saying? I will feel like you support me if you support your brother. The support that I'm gonna get, God gonna bring. So look at my page, see what I do, man, and just share. You see my music, share me. You see me, like me, That's all. Just show some love, man. It don't take nothing. It don't hurt. It don't cost nothing. But I am selling music on Apple Music. 99 cents a song.
Do go download that. And
go download that, man.
Support the brand. And man, this has been awesome, man. It's been a pleasure knowing you and having your story kind of unfold before me.
I ain't even get to tell my story.
Right, but I mean, it's been in pieces too. So, but also I feel like you could easily be a recurring guest. The way you tell stories too, it's like watching the movie, y'all. We almost might need to make skits out of them, low key.
Damn, gotta make some skits out of them because this is like me sitting there telling it, man. It just, I don't know, man.
It'll do it justice. So it's like, and then too, we from Chicago. We kind of known for, our lingo and vernacular. So we killing that right now.
It hit different when he say you got to break it down to him.
Right. But we're going to wrap up this episode. This is Free Medicine Club. I'm Paris. This has been your boy Rain. And man, we out of here until the next one. Cut.